GE. It is suitable for general family.
Welcome to another episode of The Realtor with me, Robert Dongo. And today we continue with our series of interior designs. And you know what? Today I'm joined by a specialist who is ready to take us through some of the trends and the newest trends in the market that some of us perceive as magic. But you know what? They are realizable. Or we can realize them locally, and here we are. Welcome so much.
Thank you, Robert.
Say hi and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Mukami. I work here at the home of Creative Interiors, Classic Mouldings Limited.
Classic Mouldings Limited.
Exactly.
The home of?
Creative Interiors.
Creative Interiors. You're there, you're looking for someone to create or to give you a creative interior. Mukami is here. Thank you very much. We're here so that we can understand some of the trends that we have when it comes to paints, and of course the themes and everything that we can realize through paints. Maybe you can tell us, introduce what you have, and you take us through.
A brief introduction. When it comes to our different paints, we have two specific types.
Right.
We have the flat paints, which is what we have on my right.
Sure.
And we also have the textured paints. Now, when we're talking about flat paint, we're talking about water-based acrylic paint finishes, that come in an array of colors, different finishes. We have matte, we have satin, which is wipeable.
Wow.
And they all have a very extensive coverage, something that you can do on different walls and not get tired of it, because different colors, different feels.
Get this right, it's a wipeable. That means you can always wipe in case of dirtification, or it is dirtified. If you have kids around, don't restrict them from playing around with your walls. Why? Because you can always wash it. So Mukami, tell us, maybe I can see you have quite a number. You can tell us what we have and how we can use it.
Now, as we walk in, we now move into the textured paint, or decorative paint, if you may. Now, what we are standing on right here is the same thing that we have on the wall.
Wow.
Now, initially, like you said, we bring trends. Initially, we never used to have paints that would go on the wall and on the floor. We have a solution for that. Of course, the colors are limitless. We have different colors, we have different textures. I will take you through most of what we have. We're also known for different moldings as well. Come with me.
We'll come to that. Notice moldings also very key when it comes to the current trends in beautification, or the finishes, the current finishes that you can have around, right?
Exactly. And even before I dive deep into it, I'd like to also highlight that we normally have the specialists. We have interior designers, we have a team of color consultants who will guide you on the specific paints, with a flat paint, with a textured paint, with the moldings, because again, all our products intermarry. As we'll see as we walk around, you'll see some of the moldings have the textured paint on them, flat paints. We also have different solutions on the ceiling and whatnot. So come with me.
You are there from coast, you can do beyond white. You are there from Moranga, you can do beyond blue. And of course, you know why. Let's Mukami tell us what she has and how we can apply this in our constructions or in our buildings, right?
Walk with me. One of the paints that we have here is Africa. It has metallic finishes, and what we have here is Crystalia. You can see even from the name, it has those crystals that highlight whatever we have at the back, which is a 3D wall panel. Now, again, I said we have moldings and we have the paints, but we can intermarry all of them. If you're doing a focal point in your wall, you want someone to just come in and see that what you have there for everyone to just look at. Even though you have flat paint on the other sides, you can always highlight using either textured paint or a textured paint and moldings, because why not?
So now, we can go beyond placement and vases and everything. And of course, from what I'm getting, when you talk about a focal point, it's a so conspicuous place within your, your wall or your spaces in the house. Right, so you can do beyond the placement that you are used to by combination of, you said, moldings and paints.
And moldings and paints, that is accurate. So what we have here is a 3D wall panel, like I mentioned. As we move forward, we'll see some of the different paints that we have. For example, we have oxidation paint. Now, in this family, I mentioned we have metallics. You can tell either it has a very soft, velvet-like feel. It's a soft metallic paint. We'll go to others that have a bit of sand, but still in the family of metallic. So we have like a sandy metallic feel. Of course, all of them are unique to the area you're going to.
Of course.
And also the colors are limitless. You can choose a specific color. You can choose to combine colors.
Right.
Like, for example, what we have here, we have ironic, like I mentioned, this is oxidation. In this family, we have paint that has literally the look of rust.
Right.
Yeah. And then we can also intermarry with the metallic.
Wow.
Then we
so
have
this is what they're calling oxidation.
This one is ironic. It has that rustic iron feel, and it's also in the family of oxidation paints.
Wow. Nice. Take a pen and a paper because we're going to not exhaust everything, but we'll leave it open for Mukami to explain even further what you may not get as we continue with this kind of explanation. Why we are doing this is because we don't want you them or who are watching us today just to be stuck in that one old or out-fashioned trait when it comes to paints and the themes that you're going to bring out of your spaces, right?
Yes, correct.
Good.
Come with me, let me show you another family of paint we call minerals.
And minerals.
Where we're at right now, it's a tunnel that we of course build using gypsum. So you're not limited to the space of your house to just having one partition. You can play around with gypsum. And how better does it look when you do our textured paint on them? Now we have a metallic paint here. It's called earth metal. You can see even by the streaks, the sheen that it has. Then what we have here is a paint that looks like the wall, right?
Yeah.
And it's called travertino. It's one of the minerals that we have.
Travertino, one of the minerals that we have.
Yes.
All right.
If you come with me, I'll give you a brief history of some of the paints that we do have. In this family of minerals, we will include a paint here that we call calce cruda.
Calce cruda.
A brief history on this one.
Right.
How we came about with a paint like this is that different artisans used to have their work of art. You know, in Italy, a long time ago, they used to have like their work of art.
Right.
So artisan Robert comes with his paint, plasters there. Artisan Mukami comes
with your placement
and
of the
then
paint.
Exactly. And at the
so
end
with
of
the
the
time
day,
it is accumulated and with this kind of a thing is what you're trying to bring out.
Yes.
So it has some sense of history.
It has history. In fact, this is the wall of memories here at Classic Mouldings.
Okay.
Because everyone comes and throws his memory there and we move on and so on and so forth. Now, in this family as well, we can always mimic some of the things that we see day to day, for example.
Day to day, and of course, when we talk about the historic wall, some of us will remember what used to happen old days when everybody would come and say so and so was here.
Yeah, so and so was here.
Of course, that is now brought out in a very modernized way, just to create that sense of history.
And
sorry, you've called it
Calce cruda, wall of memories.
Wow.
And with that as well, we also bring stencils that are different patterns and style. Of course, my style will not be the same style as yours. And here, since we are very creative and unique, we try figure every aspect of style with you. We walk with you through your journey because again, we'll come in together, we'll measure your walls, we'll do all the paint if you need us to, and then we will figure out what stencil, for example, you want to have, what colors you're going for, because again, as diverse as the paint is, it also has different colors.
So in other words, you don't leave me at the point of purchase.
No. Now at CM, we have different ways to go about it. We have supply only, which is an option where if you come, you just purchase and go. So we give you, if it's for example a paint, we give you the paint and its primer, because of course that's also very important to have the base of the paint, which is also pigmented if the case serves. It's either pigmented to the color of the paint or it's left depending on the paint, yeah?
Sure.
Then if it's a molding, then we are going to give you the molding and what is required for the molding to be fixed or installed.
All right.
Now, the other way you would choose to go is that we can do supply and fix or installation.
Okay.
That is where you have, us as a team come into your home.
Right.
We do the dimensions, we advise you, we select the specific paints, and then at the end of the day, we also do it because we also have a team of professionals who are qualified to do each and every painting.
Wow. What I'm getting is you can have the right material, but apply or use it wrongly. And what you'll end up having as an end product, the end results will not be so pleasant. So what you need to do is just make sure that you have the right brains, the right mind, handling your investment, because everything Mukami we do is all about investing.
It's all about investing.
And of course, there's that thing that you want to bring out. You don't have to struggle because Mukami got you back. She has you sorted, right?
All right.
So now, that's all variety we have?
Yes, we have more. Of course, when you come into our showroom, you're going to see different paints and how we use them together.
Right.
Because it's not stated in law that one paint is just used for a specific place.
Exactly.
You can always intermarry the paints. We even have paints that is real metal.
Right.
Now, for these ones, people prefer having a logo. Imagine you have a business of yours and you want the logo to stand out.
Right.
You can use real metal in form of paint that we can now use to inscribe the wordings. Like if you come into our reception, you'll see that we've written classic moldings in real metal. Like we have gold, we have tin, we have brass, everything that you may need.
Chemistry here comes to play when we talk about metals, because it can remind me of these very metals. And of course, why we are saying all this is because we want to open your mind and make you allow you to understand this, that we have got, or rather there is a vast variety of these options that you could be having. And of course, I believe by now, Mokami, can have all these as samples, one after the other.
We can do samples for you if you come to us and you need us to maybe do a sample to show you how it would look like, or maybe you want to mix and match something. That is always open. We can custom make something for you. You're not limited to just what we have around the showroom.
So give me in conclusion, we've talked about 3 major paints that we have. One is metallic, the other one?
We've spoken about minerals, sandy metallics, different ones. I can also introduce what we have here.
Yes. Right.
Now this paint is called stucco marmo. It gives you that marble-like finish, and it's very smooth to the touch.
So you want to tell me this is not ceramic?
This is not ceramic.
Right.
This is a paint we call stucco marmo. I'm checking as you can touch it, it has the feel, it's very smooth to the feel. If you look at it, it has even that mirror-like finish. Sure. And of course the color is what we'd layman call brown, but we have, just like the other paints, we have more colors.
Right.
And the beauty about a paint like this one, like I said, this is stucco marmo, this is interior, but we also have classes of the same kind of paints that are for exterior walls.
Wow.
So that's to make your wall,
amazing.
just because you're painting the outside, it doesn't have to be as boring. You don't have to just spice up the inside and leave the outside.
And of course have a boring outside.
Yes, so we have this also in an exterior version.
Right.
Of course, we have more, even flat paints. We have flat paint exterior version, which is to not limit you to the same color of paints as Robert's house, as my house, as someone else's house.
Right.
You have different colors you can spice up. You can as well mix and match. You can do moldings. You can add all that up to come up with a house that looks like it has some creativeness in it.
Wow,
yes.
That's amazing. And of course, when we talk about all this, it's just but to mention the vast variety that classic moldings have for you, in store for you. And what you need to do is just to visit them and understand them, because Mokami has promised us that they have the experts or the expertise to help you choose and of course conclude wisely. What you need to do is to keep it here, because after this break, we shall be back with more, and especially when it comes to moldings. Mokami will be taking us through the moldings. Welcome back. This is the Realtor, and I am so happy because I know and I'm sure you have learned something. We have talked much about the paints and the effects, the themes, and textures that you can be able to acquire through paints. And of course, I promise we'll be back with Mokami for more when it comes to moldings. Madam Mokami.
Yes.
Karibu sana. Take us through the moldings and the kind of moldings that we have starting from here.
All right. Now, I'm glad you've touched that.
Yes.
If you would, I would also like you to touch that as well.
This one?
So one of these pillars...
No, this is hurting, of course. This one is hurting. I like this one,
yes.
right?
So one of them is entirely decorative, and the other one came with a structure. Now, for the two of them, of course, we've done our textured paint on them. That's to also show that our textured paint will go on any surface, so long as it's prepared and you know, the preparation has been done well. Now, this is one type of columns that we have, but what if my client doesn't want something that has ribs or edges? Then we also have the smoother column that we have, the smoother rounded column.
Do you know what, Mukami? Yes. I can confuse this one for this one.
Very true.
Definitely.
Very true.
Right?
Yes. But one is entirely decorative. And also to add onto it, we can have a full column, which is what you're seeing. It's rounded, everything is sealed together. We can also have a half column. Here is to, in case you do not have that whole surface that you want that column to be seen, you can also have a half column that can be stuck on the wall. And then again, we can also do the decorative paint or the flat paint on it. We also have segmented columns, so it doesn't have to come as a whole. And next to it, just behind you, we have something we call pilasters.
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 Oh, pilasters. Pilasters is here. Something that is on the wall, right?
It's on the wall. It's flat as compared to the columns. They're just different. They're all decorative elements. They all can stay as white if you so choose, because just like all our moldings, they either come white or you just paint the color that you want, because they're already primed from our stores. Once we already prime it, you can choose to leave it as white or choose to decorate it with a textured paint.
What I'm pretty sure is that you can confuse these with this one. Looking from the top, whereby we have now the rest of the structure running, you can tell how this one is here and this one is here, because from where they are sitting or where they are touching at the very top, they are more or less the same. And of course, what you need to understand is that this one is a decorative column. From the base to the very top, it is very decorative, and this one is a structural. So this came with engineers, you know, this one came with classic moldings.
Yes, it is.
And the combination of the two brings out what you're having. Don't be tied so much to, you know, the empty spaces or doing the concrete pillars or the columns. Rather, you can use the decorative ones that classic moldings are providing us with. Mokami.
Yes. Now let's move forward. What we have at our ceiling here, I'm sure you can see different shapes, different details. We have floral details, we have plain details. What we have at the top here is what we call ceiling roses, or others would prefer calling it medallions.
Yes, medallions.
Now this is decorative aspect on your ceiling. You want to hang your chandelier, you don't want it to just look like it's part of the ceiling. You can always do a decorative molding, in this case a ceiling rose or the medallion. Comes in different sizes, come in different shapes. There's some with some 3D aspect, just like our 3D wall panels. And again, just like everything else, you can always paint them.
So we can have a continuity or a continuation from the wall in 3D versions to the ceiling, and of course have the theme maintained within the house.
Yes, if that's the theme you're going for, then that can definitely be maintained on the walls, on the ceilings. Yes.
Awesome.
Moving on.
So moldings, that's still part of the moldings?
That is part of the moldings.
Okay.
Moving on, where we are at right now, we have different moldings as well. Only that this time round we have cornices, panels, and skirtings. Now, one could ask.
Cornices, panels, and skirtings. Right. And of course, we are talking about the cornices, we're talking about the panels and the skirting. And of course, I know you are used to seeing skirting done out of tiles, the cuts, and of course, the wood. But what Mukami is telling us today, we can obtain or we can achieve these through moldings. And of course, Mukami will be going to the lighting aspect, the combination of the lighting plus the cornices. But tell us more about the panels.
Right, thank you. Now for the panels, I'm sure you've heard of the term wainscoting. And then sometimes you go into either a hotel or a house and you find that they have framed some of their images without having to use a photo frame. You can do panels to do that. This is to say that the panels are very versatile. Now the difference would be, if we're talking about cornices, for starters, this is what goes in between, on your wall and also on the ceiling. So that space at the back can be decorated using a decorative molding, which would be the cornice. Now for the panel, unlike the cornice, it will go flat on your wall.
It will flash on the wall.
It will go flat on your wall. And the skirting will now go
to the very bottom.
To the very
floor.
bottom, exactly.
Okay.
Now the beauty about this is that, again, just like all the moldings, we can change, you can play around with the sizes depending on how your house is built, the height of your house, what we're trying to achieve. We can also paint them similar to all other moldings. Now there's another aspect that people normally ask. When it comes to some of our moldings, or most of our moldings, you can do, you see, when you go to some houses and you find there's a lot of wiring, we're in a modern era where we do not want to see a house looking clumsy.
Wires and
you have wires. Yes, someone can even trip on the wires. But how would it look when you have the panels and the cornices and you can run the wires just behind them? It looks very neat, it looks very presentable, you know?
So it will serve more than one purpose,
It will serve more than one purpose. And when we also speak about this, we'll go into the lighting aspect of the same. Now come with me.
I know most of you will call these, you know, the cornices will call them corners. Our foodie will call them corners. That's what we are used to. And this is what separates your ceiling from the rest of the wall. And of course, with one agenda or with one purpose, that is to make a decorative segmentation or separation of your ceiling and the rest of the wall. When it comes to the panels, it will also stand out or make your placement stand out in a very conspicuous way. When it comes to skirting, it will separate your wall from the wall and the floor in a very decorative manner. And Mukami is telling us we can serve more than one purpose when it comes to cornices.
Yes, that's cornices, correct. Right? Yes, cornices. And even the panels, you might want to have indirect lighting. You know, sometimes as designers, we advocate for not just one source of light. If you want to create the beauty, you can play around with the sources of light. So you can have an indirect lighting on your cornice. It doesn't have to be just on the cornice. If it's a panel, whatever you framed, you want to highlight it and also bring your eyes to that point. You can do it indirectly. So you have the cornices and then you have a strip of light in there. So either at the top or even on the wall and even on the floor, depending on where you want to be highlighted. Whatever place you
place it, it will fit.
Exactly.
Get this right. What you have here is a cornices and a lighting running through, or rather running behind the face of the same. So this will have served two purposes. One is decorative if it's on the ceiling, and number two, it will help you hide your cables or your lighting. And of course, the indirect lighting will be brought out so perfectly. See what we have here is a cornices plus lighting, and of course it is so decorative. Mukami.
Yes, and let's also talk about the material, because we have different material for all our different products. Like for example, we have the polystyrene material. We also have the polyurethane material, which is a bit, you know, tougher than the polystyrene material. And then we have duropolymer, which is the toughest. Now all these are of course humidity resistant, because we don't want you to have a point where you have a cornice on the ceiling and when it gets hot, then we have a lot of disasters going on there. They're also shock absorbent, because when you have your skirting below there, it means someone can come cleaning, someone can do
the same.
Exactly. So they're also shock resistant, water resistant as well. Also depending on whether you leave them white or when you leave them colored, it's all up to what we decide with you when we're growing with you in your project.
Is that all about moldings?
We also have one more thing. We also have, besides these materials that I've mentioned, we also have flexible materials for all of this. We've spoken about cornices, about panels, about skirtings. Now what happens when you have a corner that has curved or a surface that has curved? We have flexible material that curves up to 360 degrees. So you don't have to have those small joints when you're creating something around a corner. We have every material that would be required for your house, so that you don't have to like choose one thing and leave the other. No, we can guide you on everything, on whatever material you will require. And also if you're coming to take the supply only option, we can also guide you on installation and whatnot.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much for keeping the Realtor. I've been your host, Robert Dongo. One request I have for you: we have an interactive segment or platform, that is the Realtor TV47 on Facebook. Follow this page and we're going to interact with you. Our answers, all our responses are real time. Thank you. Until next time, God bless you.